Hello there and welcome back to another entry of the Thought That Counts podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing, as determined by a general poll of the public, the post-COVID work environment / the Great Resignation. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of surveys, there's a lot of studies, there's a lot of things going on with regards to how COVID has been affecting the workplace here in America, especially, because that's where I live. I don't know if you could tell by the sound of my voice, but I live in America. I'm reading something here. It's talking about 6 things to know about the pandemic's impact on U.S. employment. So we're going to, run through a little bit of this and kind of analyze it here. First off, I'd like to say the pandemic's been pretty hard on a lot of people, a lot of industries. And I think one of the biggest things that's been changing is people are realizing what they deserve. People know what they are worth. And it's changing the way that employees and employers interact. It's also changing the way that employers have to interact with potential employees. So we're going to get into all of this. But let's start off with this article that I'm reading here. 6 really important things to know about how COVID is affecting the American workplace. It says, number 1, more women than men quit the labor force in the first year of the COVID-19 recession. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I feel like we were getting to a very concerning place here. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. A lot of people think that, ever since the 50s, that women have been, kind of coming in and making things more equal. Well, let me tell you what's really been going on. Let me describe to you the reality at hand. Ever since the Mad Men days, women have been creeping into the workplace, and men have been creeping out. Soon, and I mean very soon, women are going to be doing what men used to do. Men are going to be chilling at home, doing whatever we want all day, while women go to work and earn the big bucks. Women are going to be the new money makers, the new breadwinners of society, while men stay at home, hanging out, spending money on video games, alcohol, and gambling. And you know what? I'm fine with that. I don't really mind. If that's what you need from me, honey, then that's what I'll do. I'll drink beer and hang out with the dog all day while you go and earn yours. That's fine. I don't really have an issue. But is that what you want, ladies? Is that what you want with your life? Do you want to be indentured servants? You have to decide for yourselves. You have to decide if that's worth it for you. So, good. Women are leaving. Good for them. Taking back the power. Right? Isn't that what it's about? It's always about taking back the power. Another way that people are being affected by COVID is working from home. A lot more people have been working from home since the start of the pandemic than were working from home otherwise. Remote work has gone through the roof. And I think that's good. I personally enjoy being at home. I enjoy working from home. I don't get to work from home very often. In fact, I never get to work from home. It's never. Actually, never. So when I say not very often, what I mean is never. You get that? I never work from home. I don't have that privilege. I never do. So when I get to stay home, it usually costs me a vacation day. But the dynamics between employees and employers has completely changed. Completely. Okay, I know we all see this stuff on Facebook and there's always like memes and facetious comments and all this stuff. But basically, employers are having to pay their employees better wages, especially like in the fast food industry, in like customer service and any kind of customer facing role. is a lot more likely to get paid a decent wage now, especially in food service, than before. And you know what that means for us? You know what that means for employees, for people, for hard workers, for the 99%? It means we're taking the power back. We're taking it back for good. Ain't nobody gonna take it away from us again. The power is ours once more. We know our self-worth. We know what we should be valued at. We know what we should be getting paid. We know it. We know what we have to get paid. Cost of living is through the roof. God knows why. People are not accepting jobs for less than they are worth being paid. Furthermore, lots of studies are showing that people enjoy working from home. Working from home is a good thing. I'm not the only one who enjoys it. Everybody likes working from... nobody wants to go anywhere else. Being at home is pretty much the best part of everyone's day. I get home from work and all I can think about is, thank God I'm not there anymore. Thank God I'm at home now. For goodness sakes, we should never have to leave. We set this place up exactly how we want it, to our specifications, with our necessary amenities, with our comforts. By design, it is our favorite place on earth, and we have to leave it every day for 9 or 10 hours at least to go off and do work. And another thing that's been coming up since this pandemic started, the whole idea of unemployment benefits has come under fire even more so than it used to be. People are taking shots at anyone in the government who had anything to do with getting these employment benefits passed. And people are saying things like, oh, people don't want to work anymore. People don't want to work anymore. Who does? Who does? Who wants to work? Nobody. Nobody enjoys working. Are you kidding me? Are you out of your mind? You think I want to get up at 5 a.m.? My God! People get up at 6 a.m., very often earlier than that. They drag themselves out of bed. They got to stuff their face with not enough food because they're in a rush. The scientists and health experts say that breakfast should be the biggest meal of the day. I don't have time to have a big meal. I have time to scarf down some cereal before I hop in my car that barely starts in the morning, drive across town, and hike myself inside to do some work. Who wants that? Who wants that? I don't think anybody on earth is psyched about the fact that they have to do constant labor every day just to survive. It's not worth it. It's not. Especially not when the wages aren't meeting what we deserve to be paid, what we need to be paid in order to live a normal life. Things like technology is great, but I kind of wish I lived back in the 70s. I kind of wish that I lived in one of the eras in history where one person could go to work every day and support the entire family. That's how it was. From the 50s through the 70s and even a little bit in the 80s. But then, it's so different now. You can barely afford to live. With two people working full-time jobs and splitting the bills, we can barely afford it. And people are realizing this. That's why we're getting the power back. That's why people are demanding higher wages. That's why people aren't accepting these server positions. They don't have a base salary. That's why we are changing the rules. We're changing the rules of the game. And it's about damn time. So, What else has been happening with the Great Resignation, with COVID? People are leaving their jobs. Why? Why are people leaving their jobs? Studies are showing that people are leaving their jobs because they are dissatisfied with their employer. They're dissatisfied with their circumstances. They're dissatisfied with their wages. They're not capable of doing the things that they enjoy doing every day. You know, and I mean, I could tie this into a completely different conversation. I was talking about this in another podcast episode recently about the 40-hour work week. We barely have any time for hobbies. We barely have any time to, pursue happiness outside of work, especially during the 5-day work week. If we had more time to pursue happiness outside of work and enjoy hobbies and activities with our friends and family, people might not feel the need to quit their job just to preserve their sanity. I mean, people are quitting their jobs because it's just too much to deal with. You know, you get up every day and you feel like a droning zombie on the way back to the herd. A herd of zombies. That's what we are. And our employers treat us as such. More often than not, we are tools to be used for their success. America puts way too much emphasis on the employers and what the employers are capable of demanding and what employers need and all of this stuff. The employers have had the power, and now they are having to actually compete to keep their employees. They're having to compete in order to gain new employees, in order to hire people. They're having to compete with each other because we're taking the power back. It's shifting the focus from the employers to the employees. That's the biggest difference here. That's what's been changing. People are realizing that living a life full of dissatisfaction isn't worth it. And they're leaving their jobs and they're starting something new. They're becoming the entrepreneurs that they always had deep inside of them. They're taking those ideas that they've been having and they actually put it into practice. You know, I mean, people have been, using their creative energies to be productive in ways that society has not seen before. I mean, all kinds of online entrepreneurial activities have been booming from the start of the pandemic. People started more YouTube accounts. People started podcasts. People are starting all sorts of stuff. The online brands. They're doing tutoring on websites and they're becoming Etsy artists and they're doing all these things that they've always wanted to do for fun, but they're realizing they can do it for a living. I think that's the biggest thing that's been changing. People are actually pursuing their happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Are those not our rights? Are those not things guaranteed to us constitutionally? So help me God, if you try to keep me from my happiness, I will rain down upon you like the needles from the skies, thrown down by Zeus himself, needles of lightning. So where are we going from here? Where are things moving? Well, employers who have been asked about this are often responding with things like, we are developing virtual hybrid models for our employees so that they can stay at home for part of the week and then come into work for another part of the week. Or that some employees who choose to stay home can stay home, more often. And other employees who want to come in can come in. These types of hybrid models are kind of the next step into the future of the American workplace. If people can work from home, they should be able to work from home. And lots of employers are realizing this, and lots of employers are actually trying to implement this, which is good. That's healthy. A lot of employers have been realizing that nothing has changed over the past 80 years, and it's time to actually start benefiting your employees. It's time to actually start taking them into consideration. It doesn't just have to be the woke, lefty, progressive startups, in the Silicon Valley that care about their employees. It can be the other companies too. It can be everyone else too. You can care about your employees and not lose street cred with, the conservative partners at the country club, right? You can actually take care of people without it hurting your reputation. In fact, it will benefit your reputation. So how about we all just get on the same page here? People like working from home. People like being able to take their dogs for a walk on their lunch break. People like being able to, just step away from the computer and enjoy, looking out the window on their balcony with their hot cup of coffee that they made in their own coffee maker, because their coffee maker is better than the one they have at work, because at work all they have is a Keurig and they really like the pour over style, and it's too much to handle. It's too much. People want to be at home more often. And that's where we're moving. Thank God. It doesn't make sense for us to have to go to work for 8 hours a day, like back in the industrial era. It's the kind of thing. I mean, I could wander off into like 10 different types of conversations about this. But in order to keep things a little more succinct, I'll just leave you with this. The Great Resignation was a very much needed one. For too long have employers had all the power in the relationship between employer and employee. For too long have we had the same working standards, the same working hours per week, the same regulations and all the same rules and expectations from our employers. Nothing's really changed since 1940 with regards to the American workplace. And it's about damn time that things change. So God bless you. God bless your family. God bless your sweet little dog. And I hope you've enjoyed listening in today, because I've sure as hell enjoyed providing you with this monologous podcast episode. I hope that I see you again soon. Cheers.